in sharing life with Aaron and Melanie, I've been able to hear a few stories that I really am anxious for you to hear. And as they shared their story with me, raised in faith, coming to faith as they got married and learned about both good financial stewardship, having a budget, not getting into debt, as they learned those things from their upbringing, they also learned generosity. And so from the beginning of their marriage, they set it as a goal to be good stewards of what the Lord provides them, to give to the local church and to be generous whenever they feel that they're able to. And so within that framework, just really these two are heroes in the respect that they've answered a call to serve in ministry, and they've also made the decision to be faithful as financial stewards, and so they have my respect for that. In light of that, they also know what it's like to be on a very fixed income, a fixed budget that gets really tight sometimes. I relate to that, you relate to that. They certainly know that story, and so I think that's why I want them to share some of what they've seen the Lord do, because I think it will encourage you. So with all of that said, tell us about some of the wrestlings that you've had and your decisions in the midst of that, and how you've seen the Lord work.
Well, we definitely came to the point where we knew that after cutting out everything we could in our budget, we were still had higher income going out than we had coming in, and it sent us into the wrestling of whether or not I should pick up a second job. And we prayed about it for a while, and we read scripture, and we really just felt that with me taking a second job, it would cause struggle on our marriage. It would cause struggle on the way that we were able to raise their family the way we felt we wanted to. And so it put us in a position where we either chose for me to get a second job and watch the income in our family come up while our family life may decrease, or to stand firm that our family is truly important, our marriage and how we want to raise our kids, and stand in faith that the Lord would provide for what we were not meeting month to month in our budget.
Yeah. So you made that commitment, you made the decision, you settled your priorities, and you trusted the Lord. And you remain faithful in regard to the stewardship commitments you've made. What have you seen the Lord do?
Well, I mean, in doing that, we knew that we would be short on our finances to be able to just continue to make budget. And we've seen God do nothing short of just miraculous. One of my mentors, as I've told you, was George Mueller growing up, and he would write prayer requests to the Lord. He'd note specific shoe sizes, and God knew our needs down to the very detail. And 2008, we labeled a year of provision. That just the whole year was there's so many stories, we could write a book.
Tell us one or two.
God's provision. We would get cards left at the office or in the mail of gift cards to Fred Meyer Sons, so we'd get our groceries. People paying for different things that needed to be done that we didn't have the finances for. Coming home and having the pantry stocked.
With food.
Just different random things of how God would just continue to meet our needs and pay our bills. And so that 2008 was a year of provision, just Jehovah Jireh. We learned the name of the Lord and how he would provide. And just throughout the several years, the past couple of years, it just became an expectation of if there was a need, then we would get excited to see, okay, how is God going to provide it? Is it going to
Almost
do
joke
a
around
check
with
through
it.
Yeah, to see how he's going to, because we didn't know, and sometimes it comes through this form, and sometimes it's like, so how is he going to do it this time?
I love that Melanie told me that they were sometimes excited to run to the mailbox because who knows what the Lord might have sent. That sort of mentality. I just love that. I want to encourage us towards just trusting God, that he's able, where we just sometimes wonder if he is. Last thing. So in light of all of this, in 2010, you made decisions to actually step up your generosity,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. We as staff, we read the Treasure Principle, and that caused Aaron and I to really assess if we were becoming too comfortable in our financial situation. And so we prayed about it, and we made goals with each other of stepping up our generosity for 2010, and we're marking it monthly, that at the end of the year, to see if we've met our goals in learning generosity in the midst of outside of the circumstance financially we find ourselves in.
And it's not like it was just an easier year to do that as well. We made a decision in the fall of 2009 for me to go back to school. And even though I got a 40% scholarship, it still put going back to school an extra $10,000 that we needed to have over a period of 18 months. And we decided not to take loans out for it, but just to trust God. And when you're in a tight budget, you're coming up with an extra 10 grand for the next 18 months, it was like, really? But it's funny because he has. You can look and laugh and see that he has. And a couple approached us and sat us down and just wanted to talk with us about finances and just about life, how life is, how you do ministry, how you do life, what does it look like? And we shared, and as we were sharing, just some tightness and stuff, but God provides. Their smiles were growing, and it was funny because Melanie was sharing how, you know, things are hard, and we're seeing them smile, and it was because God had impressed upon their heart that they were to treat us like missionaries, and they were going above and beyond their tithe to give to missionaries and wanted to give it to us. And so we've received extra income to be able to just continue to meet budget and live and provide for school and stuff too, because God's that good.
And that'll be the end. Yeah, God's that good.